Welcome back, everybody. Fighters Fury here on 790 The Ticket. Very excited to be joined by my next guest. We talked to this man just under a year ago, George Ferocious Kambosos. And I was just I was looking back to our last interview, man, and I was thinking to myself, man, he really nailed, because I asked you specifically in that interview, what do you want 12 months from now? And you nailed it. Like you said, I wanted to either be my next fight to be for the title or to be in a position where I can't be denied for the title. And before everything went down, like that's exactly where you are, man. You're setting yourself up with Selby. You got yourself a title eliminator fight. That's got to feel pretty damn good that you set out a goal like that and you nailed it that perfectly.
Yeah, well, look, when I say things, man, they come true. I have a very, very strong vision. I mean, I work my ass off in the gym, and I leave no stone unturned. So when I told you 12 months ago that I'm going to be in this position, I'm going to be ready for, fighting off for a shot at the title, or even be at fighting for the title. I mean, it's going to happen. And like I'm saying to you right now, I'm going to knock Selby out in front of his own people, and I'm going to get the shot at the title. I'm going to win that belt. I've got a strong vision. I've got a strong work rate. And I can adapt to any situation and be ready for anybody in front of me.
So I was talking to your manager not too long ago, Peter Kahn, and he was kind of giving me the breakdown of what was going on with all of you guys. I mean, just the uncertainty that was happening. And your fight was scheduled for May 9th. You were in South Florida. For those who don't know, George trains in Davie at Javier Centano's gym, and you are a world away, literally, from where you normally are. You come and you travel across the world to sharpen your skills and get ready for the biggest fights of your life and the biggest run of your career of your life. And all of this happens with COVID-19. What was going through your mind? Was your family here with you? Were they across the world? What the hell? How did you take all of that in as you are getting ready for the biggest fight of your life and the world is shutting down and the walls are going up basically across the country? How did you soak all that in, man?
Well, look, it was just a crazy time. Like you said, I travel all the way to the US. I leave no stone unturned. To be the best, you got to be over there in the US. You got to have the best sparring partners, the best team, the best coaches. And I've made that sacrifice for many, many years. I mean, it costs a lot of money, and I sacrificed a lot of time to be outside my comfort zone, to be the best fighter that I can be. And you can see what I'm doing right now has been evident with the sacrifice I make to be there. But it was a crazy time. I had a fantastic first week with Javier, my head coach. He was amazed how explosive and fast, and I was in better sharpness and speed and power and explosiveness than what I was the week before the Mickey Bay fight. So that's a testament to the way I work. And when I do come back to Australia, I don't stay content and just laze around and do what I want. I get back to the gym and continue perfecting my craft. But it was a crazy time. After that first week, flew by, and we had a great week. By the time we came back to the gym on Monday, man, it was chaos pretty much. The gym was looking at it was going to close. They're saying that we're going to go to lockdown. And I had my family with me. I had my partner with me, Rebecca. I had my two kids, Vali and Leonidas. They were there with me. My kids are under the age of 3. My little guy is like eight months old. So to have them with me, that was a scare factor. I don't really care about myself. I knew that, whatever this is, I can get through this. But it's having little kids, and what happens if we go into lockdown and we're stuck here, we can't get back home, and that's the scare factor, and that's what, as a father, not a fighter, as a father, that instinct comes in where you want to protect your kids. You don't worry about anything else. So that was the most important thing. And I said, look, let's get out. Rang up, obviously, my manager Peter, and said, look, I'm leaving, mate. This is too crazy right now, and whatever happens with the fight gets postponed or goes ahead. I'll deal with it. We'll deal with it as a team together.
So you say that like everything kind of goes into getting home and getting everybody safe, which is completely understandable. What was the process like for getting home? Because I've heard stories from some of the guys on the heat, like Goran Dragic, like his brother, he had to go in quarantine in Slovenia. In Australia, were you able to go home and it was cool? You were allowed to just go home, or did you have to be quarantined for a little bit? Was it business as normal when you were able to finally get home? What was that whole process like?
Well, as soon as we got home, we had to be quarantined, self-quarantined for 2 weeks at our own home. So that was good, because about a week after we had landed, they changed that obviously rule where you had to be self-quarantined in a little hotel room. Now with 2 kids in a little room, that would have been, that would have driven me mad. I'm very lucky that we got to be able to self-quarantine at home, and I have a beautiful gym at home where I post a lot of my videos and on my Instagram and my Facebook, and people can see the training I do in my own house. I got a great setup, so I was training 2-3 times a day. I'm still training 2-3 times a day. Nothing changes for me. The date might change for the fight. Situations might happen in the world, but for me, I'm focused on that end goal, becoming world champion and winning every single fight that I have to go through, and continue perfecting my craft.
I think I heard you talk about this in an interview recently, and you talked about I think you were talking with Tyson Pedro, and you were talking about the idea of like sometimes your coaches get a little bit too scientific, and you guys just want to push a little bit more. So how is this like now? Because you're kind of isolated, which you're used to in boxing. It's an individual sport, but it's you got the coach and you got the team, the whole thing. Are you pushing extra? Are you trying to temper things back? Like how are you handling yourself individually? Because you got your beautiful gym there and you have your setup. What is that like, kind of know with all the things up in the air with you basically training yourself?
Yeah, well, look, I'm a very smart fighter as well. I'm here, I'm working hard. I'm controlling everything. I'm working very hard, but then I'm picking days where I do more recovery stuff. I go for a light jog. I change things up. And then the next day I fight, I put myself through hell. I test myself. I put myself through things that, not the average person can do. I like to test myself. And this is a time where, I think fighters should be testing themselves. Athletes should be testing themselves and seeing, how they adapt to, when they're by themselves, when they don't have that coach pushing them. Excellence is lonely. That's to get to the top and to be, a superior athlete. At the end of the day, it's yourself. You're doing it. So if someone's got to ring you and your coach got to ring you and say, look, get off your ass and get to work, then you're not going to go very far in any sport or anything you do. But I'm controlling things. I'm smart. I still keep in contact with my team and my coaches, and they're seeing what's going on. What am I doing? But they know what I'm about. They know how I work and how I train. So we've been smart. And when the time comes and everything gets back to normal, we'll be back over in Miami, and we'll be training 8 weeks prior to obviously the actual fight camp, and be ready for the fight against Selby.
Have you gotten any updates? Like, is there any pulse of when things are going? Because I know, just as a guy who loves the sport, I was thinking, all right, well, maybe like the everything's kind of like, it always kind of felt like boxing's got like these key dates where like it always gets kind of crazy. And when they delayed Fury versus Wilder 3, I was like, God damn, when are things going to get back to normal? So what have those communications been like, just hearing when you think it's possible that this fight could go down with Selby?
Well, they've said July 11th. Eddie Hearn has pushed the fight to July 11th. So we're focused on that date. That's great. They've given me a date, and I'm 110% focused on July 11th. It's about 13 weeks, 14 weeks, whatever it is. I'm already in supreme condition. Like I said, I'm testing myself every day in the gym. I'm working hard. I'm working on different things. And, if that's the date that goes ahead, then no problem. But again, the whole world doesn't know. So, I'm not 110% sure. I have a date. So that's what I'm pushing for. Hopefully, it goes ahead, because I want that as soon as possible. I need that fight right now. I want to take this guy out, get rid of him, and become the world number one. And then obviously, move towards, the fight against the winner of the Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko, if that does happen. I'm hearing things that fight might not happen. Obviously, Lopez called me out as well now, saying that if Loma doesn't take the fight, then he'll fight Kambosos. So I've already said that. Yeah, let's do it. No problem.
What was your reaction to that, and what are you hearing? Like, it seemed like that was one that fans are very excited for, and I know you have a keen eye on because of all the titles that are on the line. So what's the rumblings out there as far as those two not having it finalized, and what was your reaction to Teofimo calling you out?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I was excited for them to fight, and I wanted to, obviously, I'm going to do my business against Selby, and I want to see, obviously, what they were going to do in their fight, because then I know I'm the man's road to the winner, which is all the belts. I was excited for that. But again, if that fight doesn't go ahead and Lopez wants to come straight to obviously fight us, like I said, no problem. I love that fight. The fans love that fight. I've already put up a few little things. I've done some interviews and things have been put out there. He initially called me out. He's the one that said my name. I didn't say his name. He said my name. So the champs obviously got our name on his mind. He said it a couple of times now. So, no problem. We'll do it anytime, any place, anywhere. You're the champion, so you feel comfortable. You do it on your time. And I'll just come, obviously, in that ring and take your belt. No problem.
It's such a fruitful division, George. Like you've got a kind of a murderer's row of big names that all the fans want to see fight. After this year you've gone through, you got to have the awesome fight in Greece, which you were very excited about. You had a tough challenge in Mickey Bay in New York. Do you feel yourself like now where you thought you would be as far as like confidence wise, knowing that there's a lot of big names out there? Are you a guy who feels I'm sure confident in your skill set, but I belong amongst all the world's best and ready to become champion?
The thing with me, I've been confident since day one. From my first pro fight, you could have thrown me with a world champion, and I would have said I'm going to beat this guy. I probably will not beat the guy in my first pro fight, but that's the fighter I am. That's the mentality I have. I know exactly who I am and how hard I work in the gym. So the time I am right now, I can beat anybody in the world. I proved it against a former world champion in Mickey Bay. They scored the fight a split decision, but we all know that was nowhere near a split decision. I batted him around the ring, and obviously, look, you got a lot of guys in the division. It's a beautiful division. I love that. Competition is key. You want to be the best. You got to have that right competition, and I think the lightweight division right now in the world is on fire. You look at the names. Obviously you got Lomachenko with majority of the belts, and you got Lopez with that IBF belt. He's calling us out, and then you got Devin Haney, who's got you can't even call that a world title. He got given that belt. But, Ryan Garcia, we've got us in the mix. Gervonta Davis now, another guy's been given a belt. So the lightweight division is on fire. And that's awesome. I'm the kind of fighter that wants to fight anybody. Any of these champions or former world champions that are in my way, no problem. No problem. It can be Lopez, it can be Lomachenko. Obviously, Selby is the main focus now, 110%. And we know what we're going to do against him. But, it could be anyone. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. Gervonta Davis, I've been in with over 20-something world champions, inspiring. I've done over 250 rounds with the great Manny Pacquiao. I just beat a former world champion in Mickey Bay. You're telling me that I'm worried about any world champion? No.
It's pretty crazy too how you guys are all so young. You look at upon maybe like the heavyweight division, how long it took like a guy like Deontay Wilder to get in there and get the shine that he probably deserved. But you guys are, all in your mid-20s, early 20s, still not 20 pro fights yet. And it does feel like you're all kind of knocking on the door of stardom, which is pretty awesome to see that in boxing. It's more, I love mixed martial arts too. It's more of an MMA kind of style where it feels like it's coming a lot faster for you guys.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing with social media these days, that's the driving force, I think, where the fans get to interact and get to see these young fighters and see these guys coming through and get excited. There's so many young great fighters in the sport, and like I said, it's a great thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. And for me, I want to fight the best. I don't want to play around. And I've done that. I had to go through certain guys and had to wait to get my opportunities, and finally got an opportunity. I craved a guy like Mickey Bay, a former world champion, or a top. A guy that was in the top 10. I craved that. I was asking, obviously, my management and my promoter, please get me a guy that was or is up there. I need a former world champion. I need someone like that. And finally, it's cracked now. Now I'm only fighting, former world champions and world champions. When I take out Lee Selby, that's two former world champions in their backyards. There's no lightweight in the world that's doing that. If you look across the border, no one has gone back to back and fought two former world champions, obviously back-to-back in their hometown, and beat them. That's the plan. And after that, we will be ready straight to fight the winner of, obviously, Lomachenko-Lopez, if that does go ahead.
The judges were a little sketchy in that last one with Mickey Bay. Are you nervous about all that with Lee being another fight in somebody else's backyard? Is there any crank to pressure you're putting on yourself to not let it go to the judges or anything like that? Because that. I'm sure that had to be nervous hearing the whole split decision thing go down while it was going down, thinking that you thought you took care of business easily.
Yeah. Well, look, we knew. Obviously, we knew what it's like. Obviously, I'm a guy that I'm the overseas guy. I'm the guy trying to crack the US, trying to crack the world scene. If that fight was in Australia with Mickey Bay, the fight would have been 100 to 90. So at the end of the day, you're always going to have things like that in the back of your head. But I know what I'm about. I know what I bring to the table, and especially against Lee Selby. This is such a big fight. The power I'm possessing, I've gone to not only another level, and you can ask my head coach Javier. I've gone to another 10 levels since the Mickey Bay fight, if not more. So when we do obviously get it on between me and Lee Selby, you're going to see a whole different version of Ferocious. And I'm coming for this guy. I'm not here to leave it to the judges. That's boring. Selby is a boring fighter anyway, so he's going to try run and tap and try score points. That's his game. It will only work for so long. I'm going to end up cutting him down, breaking him down, and look, I'm going to end up retiring the guy in front of his hometown. I know that I'm going to take this guy out. It's my destiny.
I hope that when you get back to South Florida, we could do something in person, and it's not a long stretch like it was between our last two talks. But let's just do the same thing again. 12 months from now, I'm talking to George Ferocious Kambosos. What are the goals you want to knock off in a year's time?
Man, world champion, superstar, worldwide, and headlining big shows. Obviously, I fought at MGM and I fought at MSG. I fought in the two biggest arenas in the world, but I was undercard fights. First fight of the night or not on the TV sector. So now finally I'm headlining a show. I'm headlining the Zone show, Sky Sports show. It's about time, and I've craved this. This is where I'm meant to be. So in 12 months' time, I'm going to be headlining these big shows, and the MSG, MGM, world champion, superstar around the world.
Before we get you out of here, are you binging anything good on television within the quarantine? Anything? Have you caught Tiger King? Are you doing Ozark, Game of Thrones? Like, what are you watching entertainment wise to keep yourself sane between workworkouts?
Look, I've got two kids, so they keep me pretty busy. So between the workouts and the two kids, that's pretty busy. But we are getting a little bit of Tiger King. Me and my partner, we're watching Tiger King, and obviously that's
nuts.
We're on episode 4 or 5 now. It's pretty nuts. So until obviously it started erupting on social media, and everyone saying, well, look, this guy, I had no idea about this guy, Tiger King. So it's pretty cool. And obviously I'm reading a fair bit. I'm actually reading a book, Relentless, which is an amazing book, and obviously changes the way you think as an athlete. So this is the time where you're trying to pick up as much as you can and do the things that you don't usually do. You've got a little bit extra time. These are the times where you want to learn and become an even better, fighter or athlete.
George, thanks for the time, man. Nothing but health and safety to your family. Hope we get to see you in July. We're looking forward to it, man. And thanks for spending some time with us. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Appreciate it. Yeah, you having me on.